Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm QuickShot, joined by Crepo. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the teams at the top of the table in the European LCS and what we're going to expect of their games coming into week number 3. Let's start with the big name in EU LCS, Fnatic. This is a team that really is not looking great. They're 2-2 at the moment. They're playing G2 this week, which I think is going to be a tough task for them. And we're starting to see some of those rough edges with these roster swaps that Fnatic have not necessarily landed on their feet with just yet.
Yeah, we've seen great things from Fnatic in terms of tenacity, you know, coming back from some rough early games so far, especially in their game against H2K. The way they managed to... They were at the brink of defeat against this very macro-heavy H2K, but then they found the right team fight, mostly due to Febiven's split-pushing pressure game, that he held his team in the match right there, and then finally they managed to break free. But at the same time, you gotta look at like how did they get into situations like these, and we started looking at the gold. Fnatic on average is down 1100 gold at 10 minutes, and a lot of that is actually due to their bot lane. So Reckless and Noxiac, they're really not working as a well-oiled machine, and maybe Reckless trying to shock call and play AD carry at the highest level now is getting a little tough because he's having some pretty bad stats.
One of the things I like as well, all 4 games, Fnatic have given up first blood. You contrast that to Summer Split, where most of their games, 3 out of 4, they were getting first blood. It really is a stark contrast in terms of losing these players and, you know, still trying to learn how they work together. Talking about making some changes, Origin are the other team that are struggling. Last week, you know, they're making mistakes. 1-3 at the minute. You said it yourself. Do you want to build a throw man? Continually making mistakes. They're not on the same page as...
That's a snowman. Okay, that happens at PTL. Okay.
And, you know, like... It just feels like there's bigger problems for a team that should have been the clear leader coming into spring. They weren't ready.
Yeah, definitely. They're having some issues, and more so if we look back, the reason that many of us, I think including ourselves, projected Origin to be the #1 team in the league is because they had such a good existing framework that they could then plug in Power of Evil as like a plug-and-play mid laner. You know, he can lane pretty well, play a decent amount of champions. He doesn't have to do much difference than expected it, and suddenly Origin should be able to do well. But suddenly, everything starts falling apart. We see it in many team fights from Origin. The communication is just lacking.
Yeah, they really are. Not in the same page. After this sort of disengage from OG, Sven just disappears. Running top. Look at the mini-map. He's nowhere near. Finally starts to join in. It feels like the shot calling is still just a bit rusty for the squad. And, you know, they do have some time to figure it out, but it is running out quickly because they're in a losing record.
Yeah, and again, after the fight, he's moving top again, and we see Power of Evil and Amazing path straight aggressively into mid lane. And if that's not worse for wear, they don't even disengage right now. They keep walking in. It's like they only have a forward button right now. They can't rewind. They can't go back. And of course, Vitality, they will capitalize on those mistakes. A team that themselves is still one in the making right now, but they're making some really good aggressive plays.
Yeah, very proactive, very aggressive. Shook in particular has been sort of all or nothing, but last week it was those all plays, catching Power of Evil out that allowed Vitality to win. And I think if they play proactive and aggressive again, it's going to help them against H2K coming up this week.
Yeah, it does help if Power of Evil doesn't use his flash right there, but yeah, definitely looking forward. What we saw from Vitality this game, they did fall behind early game, and if they do that again against H2K this week, H2K with a phenomenal macro game that they play, it could be a pretty quick stomp on H2K side. But if the game goes even, we have some exciting matchups. In the top lane, we have 2 of the top 3 top laners. It's a little bit of a jumble.
I get that.
We have Odo Omne and Kavishard facing off against each other. If that's not your type of deal, we can lane swap. We have the best lane swapping team in the league. If that's not your deal and you just want to watch 2v2 bot, we have Yarn and Kasing facing off against Vander and Forgiven. Like, there's so many good storylines, matchups in H2K versus Vitality. I can't wait for it to start.
I'm looking forward to that Hyanon versus Forgiven matchup because of how strong these two duo have worked together. And Forgiven's just like such a league leader in all of these stats. So we'll find out how they perform. It will be on Thursday, and the EU LCS games start at 6 o'clock CET. We'll see you there.